Welcome back to another stream on the channel. There we go. I knew difficulties, but we are here now. I was just saying, welcome back to another stream on the channel. It is great to be back, and I'm looking forward to sharing another year of FPL. As usual, welcome back to another stream. Let me quickly fix the deadline timer because I don't want anyone panicking. We are currently 2 hours away from the deadline, about 1 hour 15 now. But yeah, this is going to be a really interesting season. And again, I'm sure like many of you in chat, let me quickly pull up chat to appreciate everyone who is joining us. I'm muted. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see who we have in here. Thank you. We got George, our moderator. We got Reese. We got Connor. Artemis. We got Putra. Eddie Casey. Connor. Omar. Derek O'Reilly. Ari, Chai, how are you on this fine Friday? I'm good. Lads, FPL is finally back and I am absolutely buzzing. We're going to get straight into it in just a second. And again, apologies if there are any technical difficulties in the sense of internet or audio. Again, I'm just so excited for a season. I feel like it's been a long time coming, especially when they released the game and we're here making drafts and no one really knows what we're going to do. Good to see Chewy FPL, ZJ, Henry says, come on you Spurs. What do you think of the jersey, lads? It's beautiful. We're rocking it. The black away kit for this season. I wish I had Mohamed Kudus on the back, but I haven't quite got it. Do let me know in chat where you're watching from. I'm currently in Ireland and it's currently 4:36 p.m. And of course, we are awaiting the 6:30 deadline. Okay, so let's move on to FPL. So in front of you, I've got my lineup currently. And if you did watch the video on the channel, you would know some of my thoughts. And if you've been following some of the streams on Fantasy Football Scout, you would know what's going on. But there is my team in front of you. Now, it is by far not locked in at all. I don't think there are many managers, to be honest, who've actually locked in their team. I'd be very surprised if there are many, if any, managers who are locked in before the deadline. So yeah, good to see everyone so excited to be back. By the way, do hit that like button and subscribe. We're trying to hit 8,000 subscribers and I'm sure we'll do it in our own time. I don't think we're in a rush to do it, and I'm sure over the season, if I'm being consistent, we will. But yeah, let's go through the team, and I'll tell you where my head is currently at. Guys, do hold off on your questions, but do feel free to fire in anything and have a discussion in chat. But I'm just going to run through the team first. I'm going to do a poll to start us off because I want to go back to it. Haaland, Salah, none. Both. I'm not even going to put a boat. And that's going to be the first poll of the stream. I feel like that's going to be the main thing that we need to figure out. Where everyone's head is at. I'm intrigued, and for anyone that has both, do let us know in chat. But there's the first poll of the season. So on goal, we've got Robert Sanchez. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a live team selection. Apologies if this is quite repetitive from what you've heard. Again, I'll be able to speak my mind a bit more freely because it's not a video though. And if I do stutter again, I'm coming back to the grips of streaming. So on goal, Robert Sanchez. I feel like at 5 million, I want a piece of the Chelsea defence. If you're asking me what I expect the table to be come the end of the season, I have Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea. Chelsea probably being the fourth defence, fourth best defence, or maybe a slight bit better than City. And at 5 million, there's no other entry points other than Tosin, who's a bit of a risk, who I do like at 4.5. But at 5 million, I feel like Sanchez, for me, he's the one. Now, you could argue Cucurella. Again, 6 million seems a hefty price tag for Cucurella, especially when you look at some of the other entries to points with the new rules, the new rule changes that we'll have to speak about week in, week out. Good to see straight away. The poll is 53% Haaland. Now, I don't know what I'm after doing to you fuckers I don't know if it's because of me or that's why you're watching my stream because I've not got Salah, but if you're going without Haaland, or going without Salah like I am, it is going to be an interesting start to the season, that's for sure. But yeah, moving on from Robert Sanchez, it's more so just trying to get a piece of that Chelsea defense. And look, we've got our first channel member. Welcome to the family, Harry Kane. He's joined a cup of chai. Do become a member if you want to support me and you want to join my WhatsApp group. Again, I'm trying to be more active in it this year, and we have a good few currently in it. So if you want to subscribe as well and support the channel, do become a member. But yeah, next is the double defense in Murillo and Nico Williams. Now, for anyone who's active on Twitter, you would see that Nuno came out and said that they're not ready for the season. The preparation has not been good enough. And again, I feel like he's probably just playing down the season, or playing down what he has in front of him. That way the pressure can kind of die down a small bit, especially if he's not been backed in the window. So I'm not looking into it too much. Again, it's never good to hear when a manager says their team isn't ready. But I don't think that changes Murillo and Nico Williams, who come in at 5.5 million and 5 million. And again, I'm sure you're well aware, but DEFCON is really, really influential to this year. And I think it is kind of worth doing and having in your team. So yeah, okay, where do I stand on these two? Murillo, I do fancy Murillo. Williams, I'm not kind of nailed on, to be honest. And again, that could change. Like, I really do like a Daniel Munoz. But let's get on to the next man in the defense before we suggest possible routes we could go. Pedro Porro, for me, is a must. 50% chance of a clean sheet in this first fixture versus Burnley. And I do fancy Pedro Porro because he's now on set pieces with James Maddison out. If we quickly go to Twitter and I go to Rob T, we can look at some of the projections. As usual, we'll be going back to Rob T as much as we can. Is my camera frozen or am I tweaking? I'm back. Okay, cool. Let me make sure everything's okay. Where was I? If I quickly go to Rob T, that's where we're going. And we have a look at projections for this week. And again, Pedro Porro happens to be the graphic for this week, which is really interesting. Let me zoom in on this so you guys can see. But yeah, this is where we stand for this week. And Spurs are 46% on Rob T's graphic. And this is essentially bookies odds, I'd put it as. And expected to get 2.1 goals against Burnley. So again, the opening fixture is good. The second fixture, if we quickly pull up Pedro Porro, not so good. We've got Manchester City in that second game. This is not loading. I forgot the website is really good. Oh, great. Oh, there you go. That's better. The website is absolutely chopped. Hold on. Anyway, like I was saying though, Pedro Porro 5.5 million. I feel like he's a must for me, especially starting the season. I would ideally go to a Daniel Munoz. I think Munoz is by far a better asset. Especially, seeing last season what he's about, and with DEFCON he's quite good. But for the time being, until Crystal Palace's fixtures change, and also with Palace being in the Conference League, we need to be a bit more careful because they might rotate during the league. Now, again, I can't imagine they concentrate too heavily on the Conference League playoffs or group stage or whatever it is, but I feel like it's definitely going to be influential to Palace. That's a big deal. And I think come game week 4, I'll easily move Porro or Murillo to a Munoz. I feel like that is the move. Great to see all of you in chat. 150 of you in here already. Everyone asking how I'm getting on. I'm great, to be honest. I've been really good. Just finished university. I had a summer off and now I'm chilling. And now we're back to FPL, so I'm absolutely buzzing. Callum, good to see you. Sally, how are we? Again, I'll get back to some of your questions in a sec. I'll answer one or two just quickly. But again, I promise you I will have time. We've 2 hours or 1 hour 45 minutes until the deadline, and I'll try to get back to as many as possible. Leon says, is there any way, is there a worry about Eze joining Spurs and taking away some set pieces from Porro? Yes, there absolutely is. But does that worry me right now? No. Eze coming in for Spurs is probably good for Spurs overall, I would say. You'd imagine Spurs have more control in games. Eze will bring a creative aspect to Spurs, and maybe Porro can actually contribute from that, from crossing or playmaking. Again, you do have to note that if Eze does come in, he's not going to come in game week 1. He's not going to come in game week 2. Probably game week 3 if we do sign him. You'd imagine. So George says Eze is going to Arsenal. Hopefully not, and I hope you're wrong. But yeah, I wouldn't be worried about Eze impacting Paro too much. And again, set pieces are good for Paro. Again, it's unlikely that even on a weekly basis he's involved in an assist anyway. So I won't look into it too much. It's just another route to points to keep note of. So yeah, that's the back line. And again, I'm not overly happy with it, I'll be honest. Why Krupi Jr. and not Mark Gui? So Mark Gui is the most owned 4.5 striker in the game. He is not fit to play for Sunderland yet. He is going to be potentially sold by a lot of managers, and therefore he might reduce in price to 4.4. So I'm not looking to lose early team value. Good to see you, Munir. He says, Chai, my boy, we're back. Brother, who's currently the best at zone 14 control? I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, so let me go back to the team. Who would I like in those two positions at the back for Murillo and Williams? There's one I've been looking at since we got the news today that Josko Guardiola is injured. So Aiton Ori is definitely on the radar. The only thing that put me off is the fact that he could be benched, but now I think it's unlikely with Guardiola out for game week 1. Why did you pick Haaland over Salah? It's a great question, and probably one of the biggest ones, obviously, that my team is missing. We don't have Salah, okay, and that's a good good route for us to get onto the midfield. So again, it's not really directly comparing Haaland to Salah for me. I have no doubt Salah is going to do well, and that's the most important thing I think you need to know. For any team that has Salah or anyone that does, absolutely no problem with it. I have no doubt he's going to be a good asset. Why have I chosen Haaland instead then? Well, I think Haaland is going to do better in these first 6 games. Maybe 7, because I'm fairly sure City have a good fixture in 7. But overall, in these set of fixtures at the start of the season, I would prefer Haaland's goals opportunity. He's been phenomenal in the first 4 games over the last 5 seasons in every league or team he's been in for Leipzig or City. He does really well in these opening 4 games. He comes in at 0.5 cheaper. I prefer the fixtures. And I fancy City to be better than they were last year. So it is a combination of things, and I feel like I can pick up some value in some of the midfielders that I have in front of you. So for example, Cody Gakpo comes in at 7 million cheaper than Mo Salah. Is he ever going to cover Mo Salah? No. Can he potentially provide good value and get a goal and get half the point Salah will? Yes, absolutely he can. And do I expect him to start? Yes. Luis Diaz is after leaving Liverpool, of course. This is the big news. So Cody Gakpo, unless they sign a Isaac, I know Ekitike can play on the left wing. I don't see Gakpo losing out in his position for the first 3 or 4 weeks anyway. And again, the fixtures are quite hard for Liverpool, so if I'm potentially free hitting in game week 2, they play Arsenal in game week 3, which is not ideal, and that's why I don't really want the likes of Salah and Gakpo. I feel like tough fixtures, it can be quite it can be a lot of budget allocated to those, whereas I'd rather attack the fixtures with the likes of a Haaland. And again, this is the way I see it, and I don't know if people see it this way, but like how I weigh up the risk, you know, there's no doubt that I could be stung early on with going with no Salah, and that's very apparent, and I know that's a thing. But again, I feel like there's enough swayed in my way and reason to go with Haaland. To the point where the way I look at it is, you know, imagine you had a roulette machine, okay, and red was Salah and black is Haaland. Like right now, let's just say, for example, that you expect him to get equal points. In my mind, I think Haaland is actually going to outscore Salah. So in my mind, it looks like there's more available places for it to land on Haaland to outscore Salah on a weekly basis. Okay, that's the first thing. And then secondly, because Haaland's like 20% owned, I'm going to be rewarded higher for landing on Haaland. Now again, that's a terrible analogy in actual game theory. It's not actually how it works, because you have things like effective ownership, and Salah, if you do think he's going to do as well as he's projected to do, overall he's expected to get more points. But That risk is a risk I'm willing to take because it's the start of the season. It's not as black and white as he's expected to get this many points. Liverpool are going to get this many goals, and that means Salah's going to be part of them. It's the same with Haaland. So like you just have to weigh up what you think, and it is a game of opinions at the end of the day. And that is how I see it with Haaland, and that's why I went with him. Salah does come in at a really, really expensive price point, and I feel like there are a lot of values in these midfielders that I have in front of you. Next one is Cole Palmer, who is the vice captain, and he is the other potential captain in this team. For me, he's the one player who's been in every single draft I've made. I've not made one draft without Cole Palmer, and for me, he probably is the face of the Premier League once the likes of Salah goes. Side says, can you reply? He says, Tosin or any 4.5 defender, Palmer, Mateta, or Bruno, Frimpong, João Pedro. For me, Palmer is a must, and I suppose this is answering your question. For me, Palmer is a no-brainer. He's probably the most owned player in the game for a good reason. Chelsea have some of the best fixtures in terms of the Big Six as well. And he is the main man, and everything runs through him. He's looked really good in pre-season as well, and we've seen in the last 2 seasons how good he can be. In fact, last season he was a small bit underwhelming. Chelsea look really, really, really good. So you can imagine if Chelsea's output is a bit higher, so will Cole Palmer's, because everything runs through him. But yeah, that's where I am with Cole Palmer. And for me, I want to be able to captain someone else who's not Haaland on a weekly basis. The other player is Palmer, and other than that is Bruno Fernandez. So let's move on to Bruno Fernandez. In game week 3 and 7, let me quickly pull up a fixture ticker for you on FPL team. In game week 3 and 7, he plays Burnley at home and Sunderland at home. Now, I understand if Bruno's not for everyone. I've always loved Bruno Fernandez in fantasy football. Again, in real life, I'm not the biggest fan, I'll be honest. And I can appreciate that, why if you don't like Bruno. Sorry, this is loading. I don't know why it's taking so long. There might be a lot of traffic. By the way, do try lock in your teams, your bus teams, because we probably do expect the website to crash. So if you haven't made your team already and you're waiting to hear what I have to say, or other YouTubers, or you're trying to get more information, do have a team locked in just in case, because more than likely the website's going to crash. But anyway, like I was saying, game week 3, Burnley at home for United. Game week 7, Sunderland at home. Okay, that's not enough to sell Bruno Fernandez. Alright, the games are tough. Arsenal, Fulham, City, Chelsea, Brentford, other than that. But with the new DEFCON rules, I feel like Bruno is going to consistently pick up 2 points if he's playing in the 8. In the 10, he picked up good DEFCON. In the 8, you'd expect him to do even better. What's let Bruno down a lot is his teammates. And I've always said this, and it's true. His stats say this. So I'm not making it up, but his teammates have always consistently let him down. He's the most creative player in the league for years now. Anish says, is it risky to do a free hit in game week 2? I don't think free hit is risky in game week 2. And I think we're going to see a lot of different ways that people want to play out this season. I think the new chip change is really good for the game. You know, chips are what make us all active, you know, and it's part of our strategy. And that's what I plan on doing. I have no Arsenal players on my team. I don't actually understand why Saka is so underrated. And then, like, Yoker is coming in. To be honest, it's probably good for Saka. Now that defenders have another thing to worry about, whereas, you know, Kai Havertz wasn't as big as an influence as I imagine Yoker will be. But yeah, Saka's definitely underrated. And if you're going for that free hit game week 2, I think you can go without the Arsenal guys. The fixtures for them aren't ideal if we go to the fixture ticker. United, Liverpool, Forest, City, Newcastle. I mean, it doesn't get much harder than that. So yeah, I don't love Arsenal to start the season, and I'm more than happy to eventually bring him in when the fixtures change. West Ham, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, Tottenham. They're great fixtures for Arsenal, so I think their time will come in my team. It's just not right now. Quickly before we carry on with my team, let's go back to the Rob T graphic. And we were just speaking about Arsenal. So regardless, we know how good Arsenal's defence is. Even against United away, 31% chance of a clean sheet is ridiculously good. And that was going to be a common theme throughout the season. We know Arsenal still, they are defence first in my opinion, and they're solid, and they always have been. So if we go back to my team, like I said, Bruno Fernandez with that fixture versus Arsenal at home. To be honest, I'm not asking for a lot. DEFCON points and a potential assist I'd be buzzing with. But again, it is at Old Trafford, first game of the season. You wouldn't be surprised to see a surprise or two in this first week of football with the fixtures. But yeah, that's where my head is at with Bruno. Next, we'll speak about Jorginho Rutter, who is the newest addition to the team. He is an interesting one, and if you follow me on Twitter, if you don't already, do follow me. But I originally had Elliot Anderson in my team. I made this post. Do follow me if you aren't already. Basically speaking about why can't I see this tweet? It's so awkward. Hold on. 1 second, guys. So there is the tweet. And I basically said Anders versus Reinders is hurting my head because I've been thinking about it all day. Basically, we got on Twitter, Forest were going to sign a player or two in midfield. I'm just going to turn on the light. 1 second. But as I was seeing the Nuno news about what he was saying about the Forest team, and then I saw about how Forest want to sign a midfielder or two, and then I seen the hype about Reinders, I was like, oh fucking hell, like what am I going to do? So then I was like, Reinders is good, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a bad pick at all. Then I was like, who am I? And what type of manager am I? And I love to chase the upside. And one man I've seen floating around is Jorginho Rutter. Now, let me quickly pull him up. Man, this website is ass. Holy balls, is ugly as hell. I'm not even going to hurt your eyes with that. Anyway, let me just quickly talk about Rutter without bringing that up. Look, last season he was quite electric, to be honest. He didn't quite get the minutes. But now João Pedro's gone. Rutter can play the 9, the 10, and on the right wing. And he's also potentially, he has a small bit of pen share. So he's one that definitely excites me. Anyone else's audio cutting majorly? Is my audio okay? Do let me know. It could be crispy P sounds that are making the audio go. Do let me know. Apologies for that. What do I think of Reinders? Yeah, so yeah, I don't mind Reinders and Anderson. I was just looking for something a bit more up my alley, and that's Jorginho Rutter. Apologies about the audio, guys. Let me know. I'll try and move the mic a small bit further from my mouth. What do you think of Gordon? He's another one that is going really underrated, and I don't see too many people talking about. It's fine for me, sweet. The audio is cutting in and out. I think it's just certain noises. Let me just move it a bit further away from you. Hopefully that's a bit better. But yeah, like I was saying, yeah, Rutter at 0.5 million more than those two guys. I feel like under Hertzler he could do quite well. And if he's going to be playing even behind the striker in the 9, I'm happy to go with him for 0.5 more. And it's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm not trying to sell him because it's definitely a bit risky, but in comparison to, you know, playing it a bit more safer with the likes of Reinders or an Anderson, I'd like someone who can get a goal. Why are you doubling up on Nottingham defenders, and why not Reinildo for Edge Every? So, to be honest, Esteve is the locked 4 million. Why not Reinildo? To be honest, I haven't given it much thought. I know Joe Rodon is going to play for Leeds. But yeah, I could easily go to Reinildo. To be honest, James, I don't look at that as him saying, you know, Forest are a bad team. I don't think Nuno meant it like that. I feel like he's really trying to play down the expectations so the pressure moves on from Forest. I don't really look at it as we're going to be bad for the start of the season, to be honest. I don't read into that. We have a super chat from Vineeth, 179. I don't know what currency that is, but I appreciate it. He says, can you please rate Marmouche and Mbeumo? So, I do think Marmouche is a great option. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like his minutes is around 70, 75. Because the likes of Sharkey and Foden, they're going to get minutes, and I don't doubt it. And they are available. So I would give him a solid 7 regardless. Especially if you're not going with a Haaland. You'd expect Marmouche to play. Mbeumo, I don't love Mbeumo. I feel like he comes in a bit too expensive. You know, he's not going to get DEFCON. He's not on penalties anymore like Bruno, or free kicks, or even corners anymore. So Mbuemo's appeal is definitely tampered for me. I feel like if there come a run of fixtures that United have good ones, I feel like United players like Kuna and Mbuemo could be back on the menu. But for me, I'd rather go for the talisman than Bruno and play the free kicks and corners and penalties, etc. And DEFCON. Again, 9 million does come in at quite expensive, but again, you can easily go to Avert's 0.5 million less. If it came to it and I wanted them, I could make 1 million for Saka. It's a nice price point, whereas I'd never see myself moving from a Palmer. Hi, Chai, what do you think of Pape Matar Sarr? Sarr's an interesting one, right? He's had probably our best preseason so far. And he is phenomenal for DEFCON. I'm fairly sure he picked up 16 DEFCON against PSG for the time he was on. And he was on for about 65 to 70 minutes, I think. Sen says, man like Chai, good to see you. For 5 million, I'm fairly sure he is good value. Can I guarantee he's going to play every single week? No, I can't at all. So that would be my only issue with Pape Matar Sarr. I don't know who was going to start midfield. And again, we expect Basuma to be back with the squad tomorrow as well. So I'm a bit unsure if I'm being honest. By the way, do join my mini league. Let me pull up the code real quick. Because we'll try to get as many of you in there as possible. So there's the code. It's DONDFA. DONDFA. Do join. I'm just going to spam it here. Join that mini league. That's my FPL Chai mini league, and I'm curious to see what your guys' team are like come game week 1. So do join so I can stalk you. And we'll see who the best FPL Chai manager is. So Pantel says, hi Chai, what about Paulina? Yeah, he's another interesting one. To be honest, I'd kind of stay away from Spurs if it wasn't some of their attacking assets other than Porro. Like Porro I would consider an attacking asset at this point. So I don't love the likes of Sarr and Paulina. Personally, again, there are some DEFCON appeal, but there's no guarantee that they'll start on a week-to-week basis. Where was I? Thoughts on Rodgers? Yeah, I love Rodgers. Now that we've got confirmation he's fit, I was even looking at routes of potentially moving up a Kudus or a Rutter. I don't know if I can see myself getting rid of either of them though. I feel like they come in at good value. Like I could make the 0.5 to get Kudus up to Rodgers, and I probably. You didn't write the code, bro. Did I spell it wrong? Dond FA. Oh fuck! I spelled it wrong. Oops. Let me put it again. Dond FA. Appreciate you. My copy and paste is going wrong. That's why. Okay, there you go. Sorry. But yeah, what's up, Daniel? How are we? Good to see you, my man. Fancy Premier League code is whatever. Hi, Chai. Rodgers and Bowen plus Gakpo and Pedro. I think I prefer Rodgers and Bowen, to be honest. It's a bit safer. Now it's interesting because I've not got Rodgers or Bowen, but I feel like I can see what people are doing with that, and I do quite like it. We've got a super chat from Maximilian Rater. Great name. He sent us 10 PLN. By the way, do become a member if you are going to donate to the channel. I'm more likely to read your questions. And you can join the members chat. It says Bruno plus Anderson plus Reinders or Marmouche plus Rutter. Now, that is awfully hard. For me, I prefer Bruno and Reinders. Marmouche and Rutter, though, it feels like there's so much upside to it. Yeah, I would probably prefer to go with the safer option in Bruno and Reinders. Personally, but that's just me. That is just me. Anyway, let me go back to the team. So Mohamed Kudus is the next midfielder we have, and I've been high on Kudus, to be honest. And I think the more we see of him, the more excited people are getting about him. Same with preseason. Preseason has been telling for Kudus. He's very stuck in and involved in what we're going to do in that game versus PSG. He played in that kind of right forward role that Mbuemo would under Thomas Frank. I always speak about how good Thomas Frank is at man-to-man management. And I feel like Kudus at 6.5 million is undervalued, and we have a great run of fixtures if we go to the fixture ticker quickly. Burnley, City, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Leeds. These are all teams that we can score goals against, even City. So on an attacking front, 6.5 million for a top 6 forward. I really like it. Now, I think the only thing he's missing, to be honest, is the likes of an Eze. I think if the likes of an Eze comes in, Kudus' appeal goes up. And of course, if Eze comes in, Eze is also a great option. You'd imagine he'd be on some set pieces other than penalties. I'm absolutely on the 8 bandwagon. I think for the 6 millions, it's hard to pick anybody else right now, considering fixtures. Daniel, absolutely. Other than Cucurella, I feel like 8 is a no-brainer. Like, I feel like the Arsenal guys you don't want to go with because of the fixtures. Now, saying that, Arsenal are still projected to do, I think, the best out of the first 6, even though they have the toughest fixtures. But yeah, other than Cucurella, because Cucurella gets into really good areas. Sometimes you can see him in the box lurking around. But 8 brings, like, he almost plays in the number 10 position. He's everywhere. His time at Wolves showed that, and even pre-season we've seen that with 8 So I feel like 6 million is justified. Do you think you'll be punished with no 4.5 on the bench? Yes. Yes is the answer. But I've tried to pick as many players who I think are absolutely nailed. And I feel like other than maybe Gakpo, everyone in this team is nailed. And on the bench we do have options who are not great, but they're something. Who's on penalties for Everton is Ndiaye. Late to the party, says T-Man. There's no option for both Haaland and Salah. Am I crazy for doing it? T-Man, I said put in chat if you're doing it. Because that's the rarer case. Interesting to see 50% on Salah, 40% on Haaland. And I wonder how that is for the FPL community. You know, I feel like because I'm a bit more of a niche manager, you're gonna have either one or the other. Thoughts on... Sorry, let me go back real quick. Is Malin an option? He's definitely an option, but again, I just prefer some of the other ones. I'd rather go cheaper or to a Tielemans. How come you're so confident with 2 Nottingham Forest defenders? I'm not confident with 2 Nottingham Forest defenders personally. But they do have great fixtures, and if you can look past what Nuno said, trying not to read into it too much. At the end of the day, they kept 5 clean sheets in pre-season games. I mean, that's ridiculous. They can be shit for all I care, as long as they're keeping clean sheets, if you know what I'm saying. And from an attacking front, they've been poor. From a defensive point, they've always been good. And I do expect them, even against Brentford, who have restructured their team, to do quite well. Were people doubling on Forest defence? I mean, I get it. I am thinking, though, of getting 8 and how I get there, I'm unsure. So before we get into the attack, let's go to the transfers page. Let me quickly speak about how we could change things. So I think Murillo is the obvious one out to 8 if I want to move on. This is so weird. 8 So we'd have to make up 0.5. Now, I'm not going to make any suggestions. I want to hear what you guys have to say. How would you make up 0.5 to bring in 8 For me, I feel like there isn't necessarily any obvious routes. Hoichai, Bone and Minoz or Watkins and Richards. I already have Rodgers. Bone, Minoz, Watkins and Richards. Probably Watkins and Richards. Again, it is close. I feel like Rodgers is nice to have. Even doubling up is good. Fruit Plug, good to see you, my boy. Long time no see. And Liam Campbell. Wissa, Sade. Wissa and Sade might not play the game, so the clean sheet is locked in. Yeah, so to be honest, I'm quite high on a clean sheet in this game for Forest. And again, it's picking up those opening points. You know, that dopamine in the first fixture would be great. Vinith with a 450. I don't know what currency that is, but I appreciate the super chat. Like I said, if you are going to support the channel, lads, don't donate. Become a member. That way I can add you to the group chat. He says, Sells, Van de Ven, Decipher, Palmer, Bruno, Jorginho, Wirtz, Watkins, Haaland, Mateta. Please rate and advice. That is some team, but you only have 2 defenders there, so I'm confused. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 10 players. Assuming you can actually afford that. Bruno, Jorginho, Wirtz, Watkins, Haaland, Mateta. That doesn't sound affordable, but I assume you're asking for these players individually. Sells, great value, 5 million, same as Nico Williams, but no attacking threat. That's why I prefer the defenders. Van de Ven, great value at 4.5, good opening fixture, good set of fixtures in general. I'd give him 7.5. I'm going to rate these by value. Disciple, good opening fixture, bit of a question mark, some attacking threat. I'll give him a 6. Palmer's a 10. Bruno's like an 8. Jorginho is risky, but the risk makes him good, so 7.5. Wirtz is probably 7.5. Watkins is a 9. Haaland is 9. Mateta is a 9 if you expect him to play through those conference games. Again, him being on penalties and Eze potentially going and leaving that Palace team is good for him. Reinders for Jorginho, says Harry Kane. I feel like Jorginho is really underrated, lads. Again, he is risky, but I like it. Liam says, wow, back to first in the world. Absolutely. Dewsbury Hall, yeah, he's another interesting one. Extra mil saved. No, I do like Dewsbury Hall, don't get me wrong. And again, some people are saying he could potentially pick up on DEFCON, but I think, Brighton are a better team than Everton at attack. They are. They play different football. Jorginho is very direct. I feel like he even demolished Spurs when he played against us. I fancy him. Van Dijk or Frimpong? Frimpong I'd probably go with. Again, I'd probably stay clear of Virgil at this point. Liverpool haven't looked as good as we know they have been. Or they can be, sorry. Where am I? Sorry. Bruno to Wirtz. See, okay. Leave me some great suggestions, by the way. Sorry, I forgot exactly what I was doing. Bruno to Wirtz is an option, right? And it's not the one I want to go. Again, I'd want to keep Bruno, so I'd restore him. What I'd probably do is I'd probably move on Nico Williams to a 4.5. And it sounds really risky, but when you have someone who's as solid as Aït-Nouri, I feel like you could go to likes of a Tosin and risk it for the first 4 game weeks, and potentially bring in Sells if you don't want to double up. So, like, I actually really, really do like the idea of Tosin. So let's quickly bring him in. Again, I'm not trying to convince anyone to get him in. I just think he could provide good value for 4.5 million. And then that's the perfect budget to do that. Again, you've double Chelsea defense, Aït-Nouri, Pedro Porro, and you also get to keep Bruno Fernandez. But again, that is definitely probably even way riskier for me than I'd like. Why is Aït-Nouri your favourite 6 million? Now that Guardiola is out, you know he's going to play. Really high upside. City, really good fixtures. Solanke too risky? Yeah, definitely a bit too risky, especially with how good Richarlison played. You ain't getting me with that, pal. Kiss bogus eyebrow. I ain't know no players called Nick. Oh, you silly Billy. Why is everyone cooled off Kudus recently? Because Spurs lost. If Spurs won that Super Cup, I feel like there probably would be a bit more hype, and it's fine with me. I think Kudus can do well. Suggest a 5 million defender. I have Williams. You have Williams already. I suppose Lecree is the other one. Not great fixtures, but you can pick up those DEFCON points regardless. Why Sanchez oversells? Let me quickly go back to the pick team format. By the way, you need to make your decisions. I'm going to say in the next half an hour in case the website crashes. Just keep that in mind, please. And we've got another member to the channel. Maximilian Rater. Be sure to shoot me a DM on Twitter if you don't have me already. FPL Chai on Twitter, and I'll get you added to the WhatsApp group as soon as possible. I really appreciate you supporting the channel, and welcome to a cup of chai, my man. By the way, if you do become a member, of course your questions are more likely to be answered. I'm sure you can understand that. Again, you don't have to give me your money to have your questions answered. I try to answer as many as possible. Another 50-50. Sorry if I missed your question, by the way. Is there any worry around Romero? It was just cramp, yeah. Romero loves to go down. You'd imagine him being the big brain he is, trying to slow down the game. You know, he has that Argentinian mentality. It's what they do, the dark arts. So I imagine he's fine. Choi, who's your favourite 6.5 midfielder? Not including Kudus. So I do like Jorginho Rutter. Then I'll put Reinders. Gyökeres over Watkins, not for me. Watkins is prem proven. How many times have we seen strikers come to the league and do poorly? There's only been 3 strikers really who've come straight to the league and really showed us what they're made of, and that's Haaland, Diego Costa, and Aguero. I need to change 24 to 25. Where do I have that? Oh, I do. Apologies. Good catch. Yeah, I need to do that. Thank you. Choi, do you have any Irish players in your team? No, but one I was thinking was Nathan Collins. I think Nathan Collins is a little bit underrated at 5 million for Brentford. I don't know if anyone's looked at him, but his DEFCON numbers are really good. Brentford are a different team. He might pick up some more responsibility. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but you know, Brentford are probably going to get peppered, and how they're going to set up, they're going to be safe. And I don't know. I do fancy Collins. I do like him at 5 million personally. Malachi Fox says no Salah, he's mental. Yeah, we are a bit lupo over here. Try, what are your opinions on Wirtz, Gakpo and Ekitike? Wirtz is probably better than Gakpo and Ekitike, but Gakpo, I think there's some potential there, and that's why I have him in 7.5 million, 1 million less. Ekitike, I don't mind him personally, I just don't love him. You know, I'd much prefer to go for Gakpo at that point. You're getting a similar asset in my eyes, and you know Gakpo's able to do it, especially if you expect his minutes to be good. I was thinking Jake O'Brien myself. Fair. How about Solanke? Not for me yet. He's not fully fit, I can't imagine. Even if he was, he's not going to get more than 70, I don't think, with how good Richarlison played. Is Everton defence still worth investing in? Absolutely. That injury to Brantwaite doesn't shake things up for me. Let's do a little scroll on Twitter, by the way. Let's see what's going on. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, come hit me a follow. I'll try to be as consistent as I can throughout the season. And also, what was I going to say? Do like, comment and subscribe on this one. I'm trying to get back to as many questions as I can. There's just a lot of questions. Let's see what Spiros' model is doing. So that's went Reinders and Virgil to Rodgers and Anderson. That's interesting. Reinders, Virgil to Rodgers and Anderson. It's actually a very similar team to me. Gakpo, Palmer, Haaland, Watkins, Pedro Porro, William Sells. Very nice team. Plummeted my rank in 38 last season with some mistakes at deadline. Locked my game with the team in last night and good for a good measure. Absolutely. I'm surprised we're not seeing more bench boosts at the start. Saying that, there's 2 bench boosts in a row. But at the start of the season, I feel like we saw so many more bench boosts. I think the strikers this year are a great addition. You know, we have so many options if we quickly go to the transfers page. This time around, even though there's a lot of unsurety, we're kind of spoiled for choice for what we have. And that makes for a great game as the fixtures change. Let's quickly look at some of the strikers we have this year. I mean, the selection this year is brilliant. Brighton assets overlooked a little, absolutely. So yeah, we've Isaac, Haaland, Chris Wood, Bowen, Watkins, Teta, Strand Larson, Pedro, Delap even, Sesko of course, Solanke. A lot of great options. I feel like that's what FPL has been missing for a while now. It's been missing it for a long while. Okay, let me quickly refresh the timeline, see what's going on. Don't want to miss any team news, and I'm here to provide it for you as soon as we get it. We also got our moderator George. Shout out to George. He's taking care of the chat. He's gonna let us know if there are any news. Spurs have identified Piero Hincapi as the favoured left-sided centre back. Appreciation any deal will be very difficult. And involve large fee. Manager and club see him as an ideal candidate. Interesting. On top of Eze and Savinho. Well then. I'm never going to complain about potential signing. But that's good that we're also looking elsewhere other than the two boys up top. Where was I? Sorry. We've got another channel member. Welcome to A Cup of Chai. Kit Bogus Eyebrow, who tried to get me with Nigel. But not this time, Kit. Welcome to A Cup of Chai. Do again, you DM me on Twitter and I'll DM me with your number and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. Let's look up Hincapi. I'm definitely pronouncing his name wrong. Piero Hincapi. Oh yeah, this Donny. I've seen this Donny. Interesting. But yeah, if you want to become a member, do become a member. Again, you're more likely to get your questions answered. Maximilian says models very much rate Mateta, but I think he's a big doubt. Yeah, models do rate Mateta, and I rated Mateta until they got demoted into the Conference League. So that's why I'm a bit skeptical, personally. Kit says, won't try it again, lad. On my best behavior now, don't worry about it. You're never ever getting me with that. You can keep trying though. I'm not that old yet. Once I start falling for those, man, I know I'm old. How many mins is Spence expected to get? This weekend, I expect him to get full mins. Strongly consider him as a VDV alternative. I think what I saw from him last season, he's very attacking. No, absolutely. And he just signed a new contract. I imagine he's part of the plans. The only thing is that though he is expected to be back relatively soon. I don't think he'll be out that long. But again, now that you say it, I have always thought he's been a bit underrated. And with his performance against PSG, he almost played left wing. I mean, he was incredible. Could you talk about your data science project? To be honest, my data science project was okay. You know, I made something that worked, but it doesn't compare to the models that exist now. I feel like with solo analytics, there's almost nothing better than that. So trying to reinvent it is unreasonable. Well, no, it was enjoyable. It was a passion project, if anything, and I used Python to do it, and I just made a model for any outcome that you can get to points, so assists, goals, or whatever. I imagine it's even more complicated with all the new rule changes. By the way, do let me know if the audio is okay, if I need to move my mic a bit closer or further away. We've got almost 250 of you in here live, so welcome to the channel. Anyone that's new and joining us, do hit that like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 8,000 subscribers. I don't know how many we're currently on. Let me check. Let's try to get the video likes up to, what are we currently on? Let's try to get 150 likes, and let's see if we can hit 7.9k subs. I feel like that's reasonable by the end of the stream. Again, appreciate you all for joining me. There are so many big and better managers that you could be watching, and you're choosing to listen to me for some reason, but I do appreciate it. Adam Sousa says, I thought he was out for a few months though. Months? I don't think that's right. I'm fairly sure he debunked that. Appreciate you, Kit. Mateta is a beast. My team is Mameta no Mateta. And that's great because your own name is Philippe Marcus Tasse. Do let me know where you're from, Philippe, but that's just convenient. That is brilliant. Why did Rodri already travel with the squad, and is that bad for Reinders? I don't think it's bad for Reinders. He was also in training, so I wouldn't read into it too much. Yeah, so let's get back to the team. You think Krupi be starting? No, I don't think he will be, Mike's. I just have him because not many people own him, and he won't go down in value. Diouf or Bissaka? I would go Diouf. I feel like Bissaka. Let's not get it twisted. We've seen Wan Bissaka for United. Don't get me wrong. He played a new role at West Ham, but we know he's not an exactly attacking fullback. I feel like Diouf can provide a lot of upside. Hey mate, says JM. He says currently on both Salah and Haaland. For me, comes down to Watkins, Strand Larson, Bruno, and Wirtz versus Haaland. JP, Rounders, and Tielemans, Rutter help. I can't help you, man, because if you think Haaland and Salah are going to smash it in these opening games, cannot tell you otherwise. Philippe says Montreal, Canada, amazing. It's always great to hear people who are not from Europe playing FPL. I think it's fascinating. A decent pronunciation, thank you. Fernandez or Watkins? For me, it's Watkins. Again, fixtures is why I'd choose Watkins over Bruno personally. Why is no one talking about Vicario? Again, I've seen a lot of FPL review love Vicario or a Romero Van de Ven double up. Not for me. I still think there will be a part of the season where Kinski could sneak his way into the team, and I just wouldn't risk it. I've got Brendan Johnson. Is he a worse pick than Kudus? Yes. You have to remember, Brendan Johnson was a signing that Ange Postecoglou made. That's not to diss Brendan Johnson, but Thomas Frank came in and he signed Kudus, who plays in the same position as Johnson. That's not to say Johnson can't play on the left wing. It's just, there is probably a pecking order there, and that's why I prefer Kudus for cheaper. Eddie Casey says, what do you think of this team? I mean, yeah, that's a really solid team, and you've got a lot of depth in it. But no, I really like that, Eddie. Coming from Australia, says Dolp. That's mad. Otara says, non-FPL related question. How do you feel about Spurs this season? No, that's completely FPL related. Again, I do love to bang on about Spurs, and it's never usually in a good way, but this season, I'm not really falling for the Spurs going to be shit defense narrative yet. I need to see it from my own eyes with a different manager, and Frank is usually structurally sound, so I think we will be better defensively, especially if Van de Ven and Romero can stay fit. Melbourne JP is from mad. Morgan Rogers, why would Guy's price drop? So if a lot of managers own Guy or Gay, whatever you want to call him, and they get rid of him, his price could drop. Hello Praneeth, good to see you, my man. Long time no see. It's mad seeing people who I've not seen in months. It's crazy that the same people come around. It's good to see. No worries, Eddie. Would you go Anderson over Rangers if you had Haaland plus 8 Nori? No, to be honest, I would just triple up on the City guys. Sam, what do you think of Marmouche? I think he's good, but I think his minutes are around 70. Let's see, anyone else want to become a member? Again, you don't have to. I just start the season, if you're ever going to do it, probably now is the best time. Because there'll be a lot of chat to start the season in the group chat. San Diego in the house. America's finest city. Wirtz plus Watkins or Marmouche and Ekitike. Wirtz and Watkins for me, man, without a doubt. Anderson, personally, over Pat Matasar. Okay, let's go back to my own team. So Ollie Watkins is probably the last player we need to talk about. I've been quite high on Watkins. I mean, I always have been. He's really underperformed last year's numbers as well. Choi, purely playing this to give you a sense of nostalgia. Moussa Dembele, yeah, you gotta love Moussa Dembele, man. So funny that it got to the point where it became overrated, but by how everyone was talking about him. Do I think Solanke will start? No. Bruno or Watkins if I had to choose? Watkins. Choi, are you worried about Kudus' end product? Absolutely not. I feel like he's amazing at everything except from the final action. No, I just don't think we've seen hit that element to his game yet. I really don't agree with that just yet. If he was getting lots of chances and not converting, then maybe there's a case for it, but I don't think that was the case at West Ham. I feel like injuries and disciplinary problems and West Ham being an overall poor team. Do I have a cat? I do, and he's black. His name is Jerry. Choi, please explain, says Mr. Feather. Why would his price drop of managers got Guy just to put him on their bench? Why would they sell him? So if it becomes 3 or 4 weeks without him playing, um, if people are early wildcard, and there's a lot of managers who just, for some reason, there's a portion of the game who just move around their team every single week because they don't know the rules. So if they have Marquee, they might get rid of him. So it's just natural if a lot of managers are getting rid of him, he'll potentially go down. That's not to say he will. It's just I'd rather not take the risk. And to be honest, I wouldn't have any time I want to play him anyway. Shitty Bruno Fernandez. Welcome to A Cup of Chai, Tiny Fungus. Great to see you finally join us. An absolute OG member. And one who will be hunting for my rank this season. So good to see that you're loving the Bruno Fernandez in the team. Yeah, no, managers didn't buy him to play him. But I'm just saying, off the odd chance, someone does try to get rid of him. What's your team name? Mine is utter woke nonsense. Mine is just Chai. I didn't have the brain capacity when I was trying to get as low of an ID as I could, so I just put in whatever. What's your plan with the bench chips short term? So I'm thinking free hit game week 2. So I don't know if my team is here. Let me, if I can load it. By the way, this is FPL team. For anyone that is unfamiliar with FPL team, probably my favorite FPL app other than Focals and Scouts. But essentially you can see your team in the future, which is always great. So this was my original team before I changed it to what it is now. Again, Tarkovsky, who I took out for Murillo. Let me just change this real quick. Where am I? Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. And Anderson to Rutter, and then the bench option down. Jorginho. And who am I missing? Yeah, so that is my current team. So then next week, again, it is really, really lacking, I would say, Arsenal, and it has a lot of away fixtures. So I probably would free hit. Again, not set in stone by any means. As you can see, it's projected to get 52 points, which is not a bad average, to be honest. In game week 3, the team, again, has all the home fixtures again. So again, it's really why I do like this team and the idea of free hit 1. Jorginho Rutter with City at home, not ideal, but hurts that it can get a goal versus City. Game week 4, I have Mateta in for Watkins. Again, it's not what I do, it's something I was playing around with. And again, I probably would play Nico Williams. So that's why I want to separate, to be honest. Differentiate from going with 2 Forest defenders, to be honest. Because in game week, 4, it gets quite tough. And the idea of moving on Mateta would be to potentially Williams to Manoes. Now, I know it's never good to book in transfers, but there's no world where I don't want Manoes at home versus Sunderland. HI, are there any Irish related FPL meetups? Seems they're all based in England. There actually is, Kit. Last year or the year before, I can't remember what it was. FPL Era. I'm unsure if you're familiar with him, but he hosts one in Galway. I'm fairly sure it fell through one of the years because they didn't have the numbers, but it does exist. So Kit, if you are interested, do keep in touch. What do you think of Tijan Reinders, says Tiny Fungus? I think he comes in at really good value, especially if you think his minutes are high. I think his minutes will be high. He's a great asset. What are your thoughts on Tosin? Really like him. But yeah, so people asking me what I plan to do with my team in the future. Let's say in theory I do bring in Mateta and Manoes. There would be my team in game week 5. And so this is where the team struggles. Game week 5, because I don't have an obvious captain. A lot of people will just throw the armband on Mo Salah. For me, I have Haaland away to Arsenal, which I don't love, and a Palmer away at United. So it probably would be Palmer away at United. And then game week 6, we're looking real good. Burnley at home, we have Haaland for. And that's why I was considering Marmoush at the time, because I feel like there is a good double up you could do here. Again, game week 3 we'd captain Bruno Fernandez, and then the next game week 7. Sorry, this is a really rough idea, and I know it's really rushed, but just to give you a sense of what I'm thinking. So yeah, that's some initial thoughts. Again, it's really hard to make a team that's good for the next 7 weeks. There's some really tough you know, how the fixtures have been relayed to make a perfect team, and it doesn't exist. So you're going to take some sort of risk somewhere, and you're going to be let down somewhere. But what was I saying? For me, free hit, it is disposable early on, in my opinion. Sound shy, a Dublin meetup would probably work even if it's a kip. Yeah, no, absolutely. Dublin, we've not had one in Dublin yet, but I'm sure if there's the numbers, it would be possible. Good to see Stormzy's back playing FPL. Will reveal before deadline because it's too good and everyone will copy me. Um, Great to see Stormzy playing. Do you reckon Beto will start? Nah, Barry. Do like the stream, lads. Appreciate you. And do subscribe if you're not already. League code. There's the league code. Do join. Will you try tweet your weekly moves before price changes and drops? Lanky, I will try my best, and I'll try to do team selections, transfer plans, whatever you want to see. I want to be a bit more consistent. Caught between Salah, Palmer, Pedro, Ekitike for captaincy. Thoughts? I mean, there's some great options to have. For me, is Salah, I would say. Again, I don't own him, so it's really hard for me to just say Salah, but that's what everyone else seems to be doing, so I can understand that. Interesting question for the 220 who are joining me here. Why do you choose to listen to a smaller streamer like myself rather than going to the infinite amount of big boys that there are on YouTube? You know, the Wire are even live. They're never live. You got Focal, who's 4K watching. You got, of course, Let's Talk FPL. Why are you sitting here listening to me waffle rather than getting some good stats and numbers from reliable managers? Again, thank you for joining me. I promise you that it'll be worth your time. I'm going to try to give the best advice I can give, and we're going to be on for a better season this time around. So I do appreciate you joining me. It means a lot, because I do understand the fact that people do make better content than me. I never once said that, you know, I'm going to provide the best graphics, the best even opinions, but it's good to see so many, like, even in chat now, you're better because of your approach to the game. Smaller community, so higher chance of differential, says Armithis. Maliki says because I'm Irish. Fruit Plug is saying Shannon Larson's looking a bit overlooked. It feels more personal, and I'm also Irish. Great to hear, Kit. And not a data merchant. Yeah, and you know what I like is I can appreciate data, you know. I think we're in a world where that's where everything has come to in football. Everything is data based. So the reason I play FPL is because I love it. And if I wanted to look at data, I mean, I would, but I don't think that necessarily equates to a better result. And I think I've proven that. That's why I wanted to stream, because I done things a bit differently. And I wanted to show that you can play the game in a different way and still get the outcome of a good rank. Again, I couldn't tell you how much fun I was having without Haaland. Can you imagine going every single week where everyone's captain Haaland, you're going without him and you're sitting so high in the world? Like, it's a great feeling. But yeah, it's cool. Not template, but reasonable. More interactive stream. In theory, you respond more, but not today. Well, there you go. Apologies, Jemmy, my unicorn. Can relate to you more, Chai. Interesting. I do wonder, is a an age thing as well. I'm a bit younger than a lot of the other streamers. A lot of the streamers are, I would say, mid-30s, if not early 30s. Donfa is not working. Well, why is Donfa not working? Did I get that wrong again? There's no way I've got that code wrong again.
Going forward.
Donfa, yeah, that is the mini league code, unless I'm tweaking. Okay, I'm gonna try get back to as much as chat as possible, but again, I do want to make sure we're not missing that on Twitter. Again, my moderator is all hands on deck on Twitter, making sure we're not missing that. Let me quickly close that poll. 53% of you are on Mo Salah, which is great to see. We love Dylan, thank you. is Verts, and do you know what's so annoying? Good to see him, Azam, by the way, another channel member. I keep saying Wirtz because his name obviously starts with W, and I know in my brain it's Verts, and I always say Verts. I always correct myself. It's so annoying. Um, but anyway, if you hear me saying Wirtz, I know his name is not Wirtz. I just can't help it. Your genuine skin doesn't feel forced. Thank you. Differential take. Nah, a lot of nice words. I do appreciate it. Done for work for you, Tiny Fungus. Good to see. FC Mobile with Meta says third year playing FPL from the USA. Rate my team. I assume you mean. No, that is a solid team. Interesting, you're going with Matoma. I do really like that. It's quite similar to my own. I would say it's a 7.5. Again, just going on the age thing, I wonder is this if that does play a part of it. What is the league code? Donfa. I am a bit younger, but still being younger, I've nearly 7 or 8 years of FPL experience, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, don't know why, but Anton fancies Palmer over Haaland captain. I don't love it, to be honest. I did think about it, and I was just like, Haaland is so good in his opening fixtures. Start to Cyper, Williams, or Reinders. Reinders. The only thing I don't like about you is that you're a Spurs fan. And you know what? I love that you don't like that about me. If you're not going to like me, that's the one thing I don't want you to like me for. So, come on, you Spurs. I'll die on the hill. But no, I do appreciate you tuning in. Brilliant. Puts a smile on my face anytime anyone says that about Spurs. I actually can't speak today. Good to know we're back. Any thoughts on Iwobi or Rice? Iwobi definitely underrated. Rice was probably the first player we all looked at when we heard DEFCON was coming in. What do I think of him? They're okay, like. Kois. Marmouche thoughts again. I do expect him to probably get 70 minutes, so don't love it. Jeremima says, Chai, free hit 4 is better for you as it helps your Forest defenders, Salah versus Burnley and Crystal Palace assets versus Sunderland. Yeah, I also looked at that, Jeremima. That is another option. If we just quickly go back to FPL team, again, sorry if you can't keep track of what's going on, but my team isn't too bad for game week 2. Again, we have Esteve who was able to come in for City away with Paro. And again, a team isn't terrible. Game week 4 free hit I did look at, but I was just thinking, what if I just go against Salah again anyway in game week 4 and just bring in Munoz and Mateta rather than using the free hit? And Man United at home for Haaland isn't a bad fixture at all. Do you know what I mean? Again, it is a punt and it's dangerous, but I'm actually surprised with the amount of people going with no Salah. It's a pity you missed John O'Shea's, Robbie Keane's, Damo Duff. Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, John O'Shea's from the county I'm from. Sarah, Crystal Palace or Ndiaye? I prefer Iliman Ndiaye. The irony of a lad called Stephen Ireland hated by the Irish. Yeah, it's brilliant. Rodgers or Gakpo? You know what? That's really hard because I think the answer is Rodgers, right? I think he comes with way less risk and he's probably has better minutes. I've not got any Liverpool, so the story kind of changes for me. Because I did think about this. I could easily... I'm up to Parish. Where are you from? Kit, do you know me? Because that sounds like I know you. But yeah, like I was saying, I could easily go from a Cody Gakpo to a Rodgers, and from that upgrade Murillo up to an 8 Nori. And I do really like that route. My only issue with it is no Liverpool, and I think that is not great. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the right thought process I should be doing, because I do really like Gakpo. But is Eight Nori and Rogers better than Gakpo and Murillo? I mean, probably. Like logic between behind Rutter. Yeah, I think he can play in the 9. He can play 10. He can play right wing. He's direct. No João Pedro. He's a bigger boots to fill. Second on penalties when Welbeck's not on the pitch, I think. Don't quote me on that. Hello, Choi, says Peter. He's a season ticket holder for Liverpool. He's going without Salah, but with Gakpo, Verts, and a punt on Ekitike. Peter, what are your thoughts with going without Salah? That's interesting. James, good to see you, James. 8 Nori or Cucurella? Yeah, that's a tough one. For me, it's 8 Nori. Way more attacking than Cucurella, even though Cucurella is definitely small but underrated. Thoughts on pen takers such as Wood, Jimenez, and Eze? Wood is probably the least entertaining. Actually, maybe Jimenez. Okay, first off, Eze. I wouldn't bring in Eze just for the pure fact that he's still likely to make a move. 4.5 keeper, probably Keller, but I don't know if I expect him to be fit. After a Richarlison game versus PSG, Solanke or him for you? I'm Solanke all day. I still believe in Solanke. I think he works really hard. Not to say Richarlison didn't play a good game, but overall Solanke is who I'd want. Rodgers and Verts or Gakpo and Bruno? That's mad. I'm looking at that and I'm going Rodgers and Verts, and I'm looking at my own team and I have Gakpo and Bruno. It's mad, isn't it? Like, that shows how close it is. Is Kudus nailed for you? Yes. Jorgen Strand Larsen or Evan Nilsson? Evan Nilsson, low key, really underrated actually. Again, still 250 in here. Do like, comment, and subscribe, lads. I do appreciate it. And do become a member. We're at the start of the season, and I'm trying to get as many people in the members group chat as possible. If you want to show your support for the channel, again, you don't have to give me money. Again, it's just an optional thing if you're looking to support me, and I do really appreciate it. Also says, yo, welcome back, Chai. Any question? Or my question is, Van de Ven and Pickford or Keller and Porro? For me, it's Van de Ven and Pickford. Actually, Pickford comes in at way too expensive. Probably Keller and Porro. Sorry. Murillo and Ndiaye or Nico and Rogers? Probably Murillo and Ndiaye. No, I meant his Kudus nailed for Spurs. Yes. If he wasn't nailed for Spurs, I wouldn't have him in my FPL team. Put it that way. Okay. Let's go to Twitter. One more question for all of you in chat. Great to see you're so active. I do appreciate it, lads. It's brilliant. I can't get back to all your questions, so I'm trying my best. But my question to you is, how have you found me? Have you watched me from last year? Is a case where you're after scrolling on YouTube or Twitter and coming past my links? Or is it you know me from Fancy Football Scout or someone external like Gianni Battici? I'm interested because, it could be from anywhere really. There's the league code, Anish, my man. Feel free to join. I might be the only guy in the world who's going Verts captain and a 5.5 goalkeeper. 5.5 goalkeeper is crazy. Watch last year. Good stuff, Lucas. Good to see you, Spacine, my man. He says, same team, but Rodgers instead of Kudus. Love that. Guy instead of Krupi and Richards instead of Roden. No Murillo. Thoughts? Very good, Spacine. I do like that. Found you through Focal was seeking an Irish FPL career. Brilliant. Gotta love Focal. I actually stayed in Focal's house. Absolutely love Oscar. For last year's Fancy Football Fest, which was game week 1. Actually, that's mad. This day last year, I stayed in Oscar's house, and we went down to Fancy Football Fest. I found you when you were number 4. That's brilliant. Maximilian. Found you on Twitter last year. Nathan says, found you first No Haaland season. Absolutely, that was enjoyable. I found you last year from the FPL Raptors podcast. Oh yeah, FPL Therapy. That was also really enjoyable. Yeah, no, it's great. The opportunities is after. Yeah, Liam, you are OG. It's great the opportunity FPL is after creating for me. Like it was a hobby, and it still is a hobby, and I just get to speak absolute rubbish. To be honest, I don't know how much value I give, but I enjoy it. So that's the main thing. Been here since day one. Come on, you Spurs, Spacine. Don't worry, Spacine. I recognize your name and I always have. Good to see you're still around, man. Also says I think Everton are going to be really good this season. Yeah, Everton really good though. I'm still skeptical. You know, we've seen many teams bring in lots of signings before, spend lots of money, and trying to get a team with a lot of good players to gel is it's not as easy as it would seem on paper. You know, Jack Grealish, who's proven now though. Dewsbury Hall, who was also proven, to be honest. Will says, with a £2 super chat, appreciate you, Will. He says, new to the channel, bro. I'll be here every stream. Appreciate you send me money, but you don't need to send me money. What I would suggest, Will, if you want to be involved a bit more, is do become a channel member, and that way you can I can add you to the members group chat, and it's quite active in there. I'm looking to be a bit more active. I do send in my team on almost a daily basis if people ask. And we have Mazen, with a cup of chai for 15 months, our longest reigning cup of chai member. He says, just want to say I appreciate the streams. I've been enjoying these streams for a while. Is Gakpo and Verts a good idea? If so, who do you think I should put? Yeah, I think Gakpo and Verts is low-key underrated. And the reason I think that is because it's nearly the same price as Mohamed Salah himself. And not every single goal is going to go through Salah. Someone has to set him up, and I do think if Gakpo and Verts are nailed for minutes, which in my mind they are, Verts of course playing the 10, Gakpo on the left, these guys are going to be involved in the goals, lads. And not every game is it going to be Salah outscoring these two. There are going to be games where the likes of Gakpo picks up a random 2 goals, Verts gets random 2 assists. You know, it will be spread around in the front three. You're so humble. I wouldn't say that. I'm just honest. And I think when you're honest, you're going to be real with yourself. Fabrizio was confirmed Trafford to start at 5 million. I don't know if Fabrizio said 5 million Trafford to start, and let me have a look. Let's see what Fabrizio is saying. I'm intrigued. Again, I'm not seeing that at me if I'm wrong. But yeah, let me go back to the team. Sorry, I don't even know what screen you guys are on. Let me get back to this team though. So we have how long? Jesus, we're almost there. 37 minutes until the game week 1 deadline. And we are not locked in. I've just been absolutely waffling and answering as many questions as I can. I've got a seriously good team with no Haaland and Salah draft. Will you be willing to rate it? Alex, not this stream, but next stream potentially, because I have to consider my own team in this stream. Richards or the Cyper? I prefer Richards. Their fixtures aren't there in the first street. Apologies. Why Jorginho instead of Minta? I think Rutter is going to be more influential. He's going to play more central. Bro does not follow Fabrizio. The reason I don't follow Fabrizio is because I don't want my timeline spam with teams that I don't care about. So instead what I do is I follow the teams that I do care about. I follow Spurs accounts who will retweet and Fabrizio is saying that's relevant. Even though all the Spurs news comes through our ITKs like Alistair Gold and Paul O'Keefe ever before they do come out of Fabrizio. So it's kind of irrelevant for me. And to be honest, I see people retweeting by the amount of FPL accounts that I follow if that relevant to the Premier League is coming. So yeah. Yeah, Ornstein is pretty good, to be fair. Alright, what are we doing with my own team then? Let's take a gander, will we? I want Aït-Nouri. I really want Aït-Nouri. The 5 in the middle I'm happy with, I'll be honest. I feel like there are some big names there. 2 up top, best 2 strikers in the game for now. It's more so what at the back I want to do. Let me quickly look at the fixtures a bit more. Again, I can't believe how shit the UI is. Sound, lads. Where am I? So, looking at Nottingham Forest fixtures. Brentford, Palace, West Ham, Arsenal, Burnley, Sunderland. Burnley, Sunderland. Okay, that is why I have them. Gold. And then who do they have? Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth, United. Nah, double Forest defense is justified, to be fair. I'm just second guessing myself. Again, I don't have a 4.5 on the bench. I think this could be a bit of hassle. It's never good starting with no bench, and I'm always one to be cautious of it. But I feel like I would rather make a transfer on a player if he's not getting minutes or or there's an injury rather than sacrificing and having a bench option. Again, they're nice to have though, in case someone does get injured midweek. What do you think of the team though? That's my main question. Put in a number in chat. What you'd rate my team. For me, it's my own team. If I didn't think it was the best team, then I wouldn't give it a 10. But do let me know. Secret Prem and Himothy. Yeah, exactly, Spacine. They're the two I follow. And also Zeus. What do you think about Bone? Good, great, proven. Full Krug for value, though? Maybe. Can you... If I can play my bench boost, Dubravka, Esteve, Dorgo, Maki, no. FC Mobile says 8. Nathan Kelly says 9. Victor 9. Maliki 8. Will Davidson 10. Sorry, just on the number, do let me know what you change, okay, to make it a 10, okay? And if it's a 6, why is it a 6 and what needs it to change for it to be a 10? Torsten Dorgo. Dorgo is good for playing wingback for United, but again, United are just a question mark in general. If I were to have a 4.5 and I was setting up in a way where I don't want to play for game week 3 and 7, then why not go Dorgo? Hey Choi, Pratishka, love to see you again this year. Who do you think is the best 7.5 million forward? Best 7.5 million forward is Mateta, just not in the opening 3. 4 out of 10, Simply FPL says needs Mo Salah. That can't be you telling me it needs Mo Salah. You're not going with Salah, and correct me if I'm wrong. Start Concert Anderson. Anderson for me. I have to remember, Villa were really poor defensively last year. Shocking bench, yeah. The bench is absolutely woeful. Again, I'm hoping that I've gone strong enough with the actual team to justify a shocking bench. And originally what I had before was, before I wanted to get Jorginho Rutter, benches on life support. You know, what I'd love to do, Loki, is bring in a Tosin for a Nico Williams. I would love to do that. Gakpo and Fulkrug or Pedro and Reinders. I'd go Jorginho down to a KDH. A lot of people are believing in KDH, but I don't think it can really go wrong for 5 million, can it really? And I would probably have him as fodder. Like, I would have 5 million. I wouldn't want to start him every week regardless. Unless you've gone for one of those mad structures where you have 2 5 millions. Kudus to Rogers, Merlo to Richards, Roden to Diouf. My team. Love that. Fair. Tosin Joplina, I wouldn't go for him personally. Is Frimpong worth it? Worth it? No. Maybe not for the opening fixtures. Down the line, probably. Frimpong captain? Not for me. Why was no one picking Areola? West Ham defence isn't great. And for... you'd rather be able to get the Defcon with their defenders. KDH does take set pieces, that's right. Is Tosin not guaranteed? Cole and Badiashile out. Yeah, but they still have Trevor Chalobah. They have Fofana. They're probably going to spend 100 million on a new centre back. You know, there's just so many different parameters. I would say for the first 3 game weeks, he's probably safe. But you ain't never safe in that Chelsea team. Never. Mateta or Pedro? For the start of the season, Pedro. Yeah, no, great. To be honest, it's great advice. And if I had sold my team, let's say someone else was streaming and I sold my team, I would also the one thing I would look at is the bench. But I feel like I've gone with enough shorty in minutes. I think the one thing that can really let me down is a Cody Gakpo. If suddenly Liverpool sign a Alexander Isak, but then I'm thinking about it. If I do go down the route of playing Gakpo game week 1, Isaac comes in game week 2, let's say, well, then I'm on free hit anyway. Game week 3, I know I have to get rid of him, so I will have time to think, and maybe that's how my chip strategy will land. By the way, good. Another thing that's good to know is, what was I going to say? A good thing to know is also the AFCON is coming up and we're going to get free transfers for it. So I feel like those transfers are there to be used. I don't want to be fucking around trying to save and stack transfers personally. If I think a player is going to bang in a certain week and he's a good potential to do well in the next 3 or 4, I'm going to go get him. And I think I was a bit too passive last year. It's not the type of manager I am. You know, if I want to bring in a player and I want to believe in that player so much that I want to captain him. If it's a Cody Gakpo versus Burnley, or for example, 2 years ago it was Sterling versus Burnley. Hello, Red Devil. Good to see you back. Yeah, no, 4 millions are not ideal, but again, I feel like we've got good 4 millions this year. Esteve and Roden, you know, they're nailed. Some players that might get DEFCON points randomly if I need them to fill in. Yeah, Kudus isn't going to AFCON. Exactly that, George. I remember that when we signed him. Yeah, I don't know why he's not, but he's not. When is AFCON? I don't know exactly when AFCON is. I'm fairly sure it's near enough 22. When... I can't spell it. When is AFCON 25-26 starting? December 21st, so Christmas time. So that would be around game week 18, if I'm not wrong. Game week 18, am I wrong? Yeah, it'd be great if I could see these really good fixtures on the really good website to see. Let me see. Game week 17, that's right, and they'll be gone for 18. So yeah, game week 18 is when AFCON is. And that's when we get the 5 free transfers. So I'm going to be aggressive. And again, they're giving us an abundance of chips, so why not use them? Ekatike? What about Ekatike? Oh, Ghana are not in AFCON. Okay, that makes sense. What year were you number 2, pal? I was number 2 in 2021-22. 21-22? No, 22-23. So the year before last. World number 2, finished 1,839, was top 100 for 30 game weeks. Done it without Haaland, by the way. Quite appealing. Rather have Goodmanson than Roden? Nah, I do actually like Goodmanson. I just haven't gave it too much thought. Sean says, good to see you. Back for a deadline stream. Best luck for the season. Thank you, Sean. You too. Hello, FPL Shy, the differential GOAT. Pick one. Pedro or Piro? Piro. Diouf or Bissaka? Diouf. Sells or Verbergen? Sells. Oina or Nico? Nico. Reed or Dewsbury? Dewsbury. I already have Haaland, Palmer, Salah and Bruno. Brilliant. I hope I answered your questions. Triple captain Salah tonight? Not for me because I don't even own him. Sorry to repeat, but just want to make sure you see Goodmanson is predicted for more DEFCON points. Still 4 million and still leads. Well, that's all I need to know, and I'm going to bring in Goodmanson. To be fair, I haven't really gave it too much thought. I was going to leave it to the deadline. 27 minutes until the deadline, and the website's still not crashed, so that's brilliant. See, this is why I love my engaged chat. You know what I mean? You want to help me out. And there you go, just like that. Is Ekatike a good pick? Yes, is the answer. Is he better than some of the other picks at his price? I don't know. Sharif, my boy. He says, good luck, baby. Watkins or Evan Nilsson. And what is your Instagram username? My Instagram username is DylanShy16, I believe, or DylanShy_. I can't remember. Do hit me a follow if you're interested. I'm not very active on it, but nonetheless. If you had Marmouche, says Maximilian, would you go for a double up with Reinders or Anderson? I would double up with Reinders. I expect City to do well. City midfielders, like we've seen in past seasons, have also been quite well, done quite well, like Gundogan. And also Reinders has got 10 goals in the Serie A, which is quite a good league if you're thinking defensively. Sean Walsh says Vicario plus Dubravka is good rotation. Dubravka plays Sunderland when Vicario plays City. As a Spurs fan, I need your opinion. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't think we're going to keep City out. So that rotation for game week 2 isn't bad. But I would look longer term than that. Do you want a Spurs goalkeeper? How do you think Frank's team is going to set up? If we play 5 back, absolutely. Amrit says, shy, yeah, we're back. Why are you not at Fest? Maliki says, yeah, unfortunately this year I couldn't make it. I don't have I didn't have a job, so I didn't have the money to go over. Not that I didn't have the money, I didn't have the expense to be able to make, really. But yeah, I'm sure that the guys at Fest are going to have a blast. Last year was really, really good. And it's funny because some people shit on it. But again, for anyone who's even in YouTube, if you're around that area, I would recommend it personally. It's real good. Again, probably too late now, but next season, keep it in mind. I missed a question that I wanted to answer. Yeah, I was scanning through predicted points on Fantasy Football Scout earlier and I found it. Okay, brilliant, Alex. Thank you. Van de Ven, best 4.5? Yes, and then maybe Gahey because he might go to Liverpool, even though they just signed someone, and maybe Gahey because he might stay at Palace, but maybe not for the first 3. To start every week, Van de Ven, yes. Marmouche or Gakpo got an extra mil. I think if you had the extra mil and you're happy with the rest of the team, why not go for Marmouche? Yeah, Spacine, I agree. Kinski is, I think, can potentially replace Vicario. Vicario isn't exactly great in my opinion. Really sorry to repeat this. Just really want you to see, but should I play bench boost game week 1 with Dubravka, Esteve, Dargo, and Marquis? No, you shouldn't, in my opinion. Who's the best 6.5/6 million mid? For me, Jorginho Rutter. That's why I have him. 6.5, maybe for value, Kudus is probably still better than Jorginho, but that's just currently what I'm thinking. Who's the pen taker for Brighton? Welbeck, and then potentially Jorginho Rutter. So still 250 people in here. Appreciate all of you, and it looks like we're getting a lot of love in chat. We got a 250 euro super chat from Liam. By the way, Liam, become a member. I do appreciate you sending me money, but I want you more engaged in a WhatsApp group. So if you want to become a member, feel free. But I do appreciate the €2.50. He says Paro to a 4.5 and believe it to Rutter. Have Van de Ven. Yes, I want to say, although I don't love doubling up on the Spurs defense, even though models are saying that. Believe it looks good, but with the link to United, I don't feel too confident in him. But yeah, Rutter is definitely way more exciting than Believe. So yes is the answer, Liam. And then another $10 donation from Adam Sousa. Adam, you absolute legend. He says, just want to say I appreciate you. Good luck for the season. Yeah, good luck to absolutely everyone in chat. If you're dipping in and dipping out of chat, I do understand and I appreciate you coming and joining me. But best luck for the season. Do let me know in chat before you leave. What is your season projection? For me, every single year the goal is 10,000. Again, I have 2 top 5,000 finishes. But for me, the goal is top 10,000 playing the way I want to play. I want to play the game as exciting as possible for me. Orenstein says Belieber staying at Brighton. Oh shit, I didn't see that. Apologies. That's unusual. If you're Belieber, why wouldn't you just go to United? That is mad. So yeah, I want to play the game the way I want to play it. And I want to do well doing it. And I want to stream and have people... I don't want necessarily people to listen to me because I don't think my opinions are any more valuable than anyone else's. And I can't stress that enough. You're playing against me. I want you to take me down as entertainment. Look at what I'm doing. Go, I think he's wrong and I'm a better manager than him and this is what I'm going to do because of it. Again, I always say it because I feel like us content creators, we get a narrative of that we think we're better than other people because we're here voicing our opinions. Not once have I ever thought that. I'm just a young fella sitting in front of the camera who was sharing what he thinks, and I'm playing against you. So you are playing against me, and I hope you think you're a better manager than me because, I don't think I'm a better manager than anyone else. Again, I'm not the best content creator either. And I do respect that there's people who are better than me at the game. But if my goal was to be and play optimally, I wouldn't enjoy the game as much. So I don't. And it's as easy as that. I could join as many mini leagues as I wanted for money or whatever and play the best team I wanted to, but it's not what the game is about, and it's never what football is about for me. Davis West, good to see you, my boy. He says top 10k. If I beat my top 3.5k last year, amazing, Davis, by the way, congratulations. Yeah, there are a lot of variants. Spacine puts in a tweet for more and seeing. Spacine, you're becoming an absolute legend. Can I promote you to the spot? Can I make you a moderator? There you go. There you go, Spacine. You're now becoming a moderator because you're patrolling the chat like a mod. So now we have two moderators. We've got George and we got Spacine. Welcome, Spacine. And now you'll see that little spanner beside your name. Who else we got in here that I could make admin for the season? Because George is putting in a lot of work. And take the pressure off George. Where are we? Yeah, no, Spacine, you've been very active though for this whole stream, and I've seen you in countless other streams. By the way, 20 minutes until the deadline. What am I doing with my team? I don't know. I want to do a little scroll on Twitter. I want to be nosy and see what other people are doing. Let's have a look, shall we? 9.5 million active managers. Mad. Please have your team somewhat locked in before the deadline, before the deadline, because the game is probably going to crash. Let's be real. What's the biggest money league you are in, Chai? This is classified information. Adam Sousa says, congrats, well done, Spacine. Who's on pens for Wolves? So Jorgen Strand Larsen is on pens for Wolves, and then behind him is Jean Arias, who I think is a really underrated option. Always here, Chai, says Mazan. Yeah, Mazan, you are always here, to be fair. If you want, put in if you want to become a moderator. Again, it is a responsibility, and I don't go throwing around that easily. But Mazan, I do appreciate you. You're always here, in fairness. David says, what's better, Fulkrug 4.5 mid or 4.5 forward and 6 mid? Maybe Reinders. I want to say 4.5 forward, 6 million mid. Somehow I end up with Marmouche and Reinders. Love you, Chai. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything, lads. Don't listen to me. What the fuck do I know? Davis says, Chai, I live in Brighton and a lot of my friends are raving about Rutter having a big season this season. Yeah, Davis, like I've seen him play against Spurs and a few other teams, and he is electric. Against us, he hit the post a few times. So yeah, Darlow leads first choice. I'm not sure for certain. Thoughts on Papsar? I think he's great if he can get minutes, but whether or not his minutes are nailed is a different story. Why is everyone going for Rutter? Because he's definitely a good option. Can potentially play in the number 9. Good to see Fest is doing well. Look at this. This is what we love to see. A load of fancy football nerds. And I'm one of them. I'm just behind the camera rather than being there in person, which makes me even bigger nerd. I'm there watching these people have fun, and yeah. It's so funny, like people get flack, and I love this. I think it's great for the community, for people to meet up and passionate people. But there's a lot of people who go, oh, look at these nerds meeting up. But there's this for absolutely anything in life. Like there's societies for anything or any hobby. So I don't look at it any different just because it's about football. Adam Sousa says, I'm in most streams, but it's usually during when I'm working, so absolutely no chance to moderate chat. All good, Adam. And I'm more than happy for you to just be a channel member. No issue at all. 17 minutes until the deadline. Absolutely. And you know what? I've been quite calm. And the reason for this is because I think if I went into the deadline with this team, I'd be more than happy. I feel like any decision I have to make is 50-50 rather than blatant. Dubravka, Goodmanson, Esteve nailed. Krupi Jr., I gave you my reason for him. I don't think that position really matters. The only option that could happen here is I get a better bench defender because I'm not happy with the depth in my team. But when I look at the 11, I'm almost certain on minutes, except Gakpo after game week 3. And I did say the potential of free hitting, so I could cover it. Haaland over Salah was my thought process by the start of the season. Porro, Sanchez are nailed for me. Williams I do love for 5 million. I think is a good entry point to the Forest defence, and I think Murillo, if Forest are not going to keep clean sheets, the DEFCON points are there for him. And then the rest of the team we went through extensively. Juve, Strand Larson, which one to start game week 1? Strand Larson, always start the attacker. Fix that bench, Shy. You have to downgrade someone. I don't know, Chicken. I do get what you're saying, but at the same time, there's no position that I think is worth downgrading. The only one is Nico Williams down to a 4.5 and upgrading that defender position. Like, you know, if I'm being honest, my man, what three do you think Sanchez, Williams, Kudus sells Aït-Nouri, Anderson? Probably option 1. If I'm being honest. Why you ignore me, bro? Sorry, there's just a lot of questions. I can't get back to all of them. What is your question? I'll try to get back to it. Collins, I didn't mean to ignore you. Thoughts on Adingra? Not bad for the price. Don't love it though. Is it crazy I have Sesko, Haaland and Gyökeres up front? Yeah, I didn't even know that was feasible. TC, good to see you, my boy. Estevao versus Reinders. Start Reinders all day. Don't play victim, bro. I love that. Are you locked in? I wouldn't say locked in. Here's what I'm thinking. So let me quickly go to the transfers page. I do think Williams is good value, don't get me wrong. But is there potential to pick up different value on a different asset like Tosin? 0.5 million in the bank. Potentially upgrade Goodmanson, who we just brought in, to another 4.5, and if Tosin doesn't play, bring him in. And to be honest, what I'm thinking is, how long do we have left until the deadline? 14 minutes. What I'm thinking is potentially going to a 4.5. How do I put money? 4.5. Oh, that's nice. That's a good drop down menu. First good drop down menu I've seen since the new update to the website. But bring in a 4.5 if Tosin is not going to play. And who I like is Anderson, of course. Doof 2. Try what is your team looking like? Says Downtown. I do like Richards. Chris Richards. He's going to start regardless. He's good for DEFCON. Again, 22 starts, 23 starts season 4. I'm not playing victim. I just need a response. Okay, let me... okay, a few questions. Let me show Downtown my team. Downtown, this is my team currently. Next question. It is a bit of a constant situation, but I feel like there is some upside there and just no one's talking about it, so it's not the equivalent. He wants his question answered. Collins, I'm scrolling up in chat, and if I don't see your Wood or Mateta, there you go. Mateta all day without a shadow of a doubt. Would you switch Jorginho for NDI? Yes, but I wouldn't do the 0.5 million and have no bench option. Do you know what I mean? Vasa, welcome to a cup of chai. Another one to add to the group chat. Again, anyone who's become a member of the stream, do shoot me a DM on Twitter. I'll get you involved in the members group chat. I do appreciate it, lads. Again, I don't know why you seem to listen to me or care what I have to say, but it means a lot. No problem, Collins. Appreciate you. Sorry if it seemed like I was dodging you. That was not the case though. So yeah, what 4.5 million defender would I like alongside Tosin? So the equivalent to this situation is I think Tosin's guaranteed to start that first game week. You know, I can't see Tosin not getting that. And other 4.5s are Anderson, who I like. He's good for DEFCON. Do you know what we'll do? We'll actually quickly go to Tom Hadley, who is brilliant for these graphics for the budget defenders. Tom Hadley. I don't know why he didn't come up there. Cheers, man. Glad to be a part. Cheers, Vasa. Not one I've seen often in chat, but it's good to see you're gone straight in for FPL Shine. You want to be involved, so do shoot me a DM. Tom, what graphic am I looking for? Let's see real quick. DEFCON. So in front of you, DEFCON data. So immediately, Collins is the one I talked about there, who's quite good. Lecree at 5 million. Wan-Bissaka, who's the 4.5, who's showing up, and Gahey. So I'd also really like Gahey. What happened to you last year, bro? Had a poor year. It happens. And that is going to happen when you play in such a rogue way. You know, you're going to either see really high highs or really low lows. And last season wasn't up to my standard, considering I have 2 top 5Ks. But nonetheless, we will do better. Frimpong starts. No surprise. Where are you seeing this, Maximilian? Yeah, it's not a surprise, but I should probably bring this up in chat. Hold on. Where is this Frimpong news you're talking about? Do at me in it, or let me know in chat where you're seeing it. Been watching you since the collab with Fran. That's interesting. And I'll be more active going forward. Brilliant, Vasa. Great to hear. Fuck the rest, play rogue. Absolutely, Jonathan Shirley. Let's see Fran's team. Convenient that you just mentioned Fran. Watkins, Strand Larson, Jorginho, Bruno, Palmer, Salah. Not a million miles off my own team. I can see is very review trusted with Sanchez, Pedro, Paro, Romero, Strand Larson. Good structure though, I can see why. Thoughts on Spence instead of VDV? Long term I wouldn't do it. Initial term, yes, sure. Oh lads, I'm really excited for this Liverpool game. It's been ages since I've been properly engaged because a lot of the games have been Club World Cup, and to be honest, I couldn't give a fuck about them. Best 4 million defender, Chai. Probably Esteve. For that Sunderland or home fixture in Game Week 2 if you want the flexibility. May I ask you on Van Dijk and Frimpong? I would go Frimpong. Anderson versus Gay. Anderson. Gay if I knew he was staying. Marmoush or Gakpo. Marmoush overall, but Gakpo again if you're going for a budget. It's a different situation. Like and sub chat. Cheers, Spacine. Almost there, lads. 10 minutes until the deadline. What are we going to do? Spacine, actually, do send me on your number on Twitter. I'll get you involved in the members chat. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about potentially moving down Williams to a Tosin, doubling up Chelsea's defence rather than Forest, and potentially strengthening the bench. I think though after some more thought, I'm more than happy to kind of leave it how it is. Do you think the defensive points made a difference to your team? I assume you mean defensive contributions. Absolutely. So now Murillo and Nico Williams, regardless of if they keep a clean sheet, they'll look good for defensive contributions. Bruno as well. Kudus, underrated for the defensive contributions. Again, we won't see many outfield players other than defenders get them that are not defensive midfielders, but he is a workhorse. 8 minutes until the deadline, lads. We're almost there. I'm going to make a post on Twitter when I lock in my team. I'm actually going to do it now. I am locked. Till on the bench, which is unlike me, but I like it, to be honest. Okay, let me make a post. Do comment your teams on this. I'll get back to him, not on stream. Game week 1. Sorry guys, I'll try to get back to your question. I know we're coming to crunch time. Guys, please hear me out, help me out. Rank Larson, Evan Nilsson, Tarkovsky, please, for my bench headache. How is that your bench headache? I would go Tarkovsky, Larson, Evan Nilsson. Again, that was off the cuff. I love your whole team, bar Bruno. Then stick in Verts, no issue. Oh, by the way, do make sure you don't have a random bench boost activated. I should probably check that myself. I'm surprised the game hasn't crashed. Don't go for Tosin. Maresca bigged up Uh, yeah, you're right. In Kunku, that is true. Um, Following from Saudi Arabia, great. That's mad. If we join your WhatsApp group, do we get extra info from you? It's not necessarily extra info, but it might be a bit faster if you have any specific questions. Saban, I answer them. I put in my screenshots of my team before I do any videos. If you have questions, I get back to you. So if you want to become a member, feel free to do it. Hi Chai, Murillo or Verts or Bruno and Nico Williams? Bruno and Nico Williams for the long run. Long run. Chai, is Gakpo very important? Yes, he is, because I need a piece of that Liverpool attacking line. Almost there, lads. Apologies for the poor lighting, actually. I just noticed that. Let me get this Twitter post up. Let's see the game week 1 teams. And that includes all you in stream. Do stick your team below. Don't nah, just about happy. No Salah. And let's put a wink. All season I spoke about no Salah, and now we've gone through it. So all right. Again, how long until the deadline? 4 minutes. There's the team. Halo is usually good at home. Best 6.5 midfielder. Kudus. What's your chip plan, Shy? Not solidified. Come game week 2, I might want a lot of the Arsenal assets, so maybe free hit 2. I don't have any right now. Rahul, chill, man. Chill. Bruno, I don't know, man. Live sneakers, it's okay. I understand. Like, you're right to be skeptical about Bruno, especially in his new position and how poor United have been. But I can guarantee you one thing. United won't be worse than last season. Amron has had more time. That's the first thing. Second of all, they're after making some good signings, so no problem. When will he bench boost? Not worried about that now. I don't even want to entertain the fact of even thinking of it. Bench boost is a pain. I'd imagine it'd be some point where I'm wildcarding, which should be either 8 or 13. You never know, I could even see an early wildcard, but unsure is the answer. Minter over Rutter? No, not for me. Jose Pedro says Murillo or Milenkovic. He needs it fast. Murillo all day. What do you think about Marmouche? Good, but limited by 70 minutes, I would say. Marmouche for Bruno. I originally was Marmouche for Bruno, right? Franek, good to see you, man. Long time no see. We got Downtown as well, who has always been around. 8 Nori good. 8 Nori is great. Ndiaye. You know what? 8 Nori is the one I kind of wish I had. It's not worth doing Pedro Porro to 8 Nori or Murillo to 8 Nori though, and Jorginho Rutter down to Anderson or Reinders, in my opinion. There's a lot more upside going with how I have. Gakpo, Konsa or Rogers, Williams? Rogers and Williams. That is completely valid, George. What do you think of Sharky? Great player. Will he get minutes? Unsure. Rico Lewis to Forest, rumoured. Where have you seen that? That's interesting. Bro's trying to make me panic about Williams. You cannot put pressure on me, my friend. Along the lines of what I was thinking, I wanted him in now, but can't back initial Crystal Palace fixtures, and Palace don't start well historically. I think, okay, projection for the season. Best fullback in the league, FPL wise, will go to Daniel Munoz. I just don't want him for the first opening fixtures. Daily Mail, mate. Send your DM, check when you're free. Absolutely will do. Reinders or Anderson? Reinders. Please don't ban. Deadline's almost over. There you go. Spacine not having it. Paro Disciple, Esteve or Williams, VDV Konsa. Williams, VDV Konsa. Reinders or Anderson? Reinders again. Timber. What? Paro or Minoz. No, Paro starting off and then eventually Minoz. It will be Minoz. I can't wait to own Minoz. I think he's going to be phenomenal. Best of luck, everyone. 1 minute until the deadline. And I hope you're locked in. Another amazing stream. And it's great to be back. And the views were here, which is also another great sign. I hope to see a lot of you joining me for this season as usual. And keeping tabs on videos. I'm going to be consistent as I can. And I look forward for joining you for another stream. So do keep an eye out on the space. Do follow me on Twitter. Like, comment, and subscribe before you go. Projections for the season, actually, before the season kicks off. I'm going to go Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, United. Bold, I know. But that's what I'm going for. And I'm going for a top 10k this season. So over 150 likes on the stream. A great way to end it. Thank you absolutely everyone again. And as usual, lads, I will see you in next.